All right, hey, hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to make a video talking about debt and why it can basically crush people, especially from a young age. If you are burdened with debt, how it can basically be like digging a hole that you can never get out of. If you've dug a hole so deep, you can no longer really crawl on the side to get out. You're down so deep and it's very hard to get out of it. It starts from an early age, really. The education system is a big culprit now. Because someone that's 16, or take someone that enters high school, 13, 14 years old, they're going into like 8th or ninth grade. A lot of people, even when they're a junior, senior in high school, they don't really have a great idea of what they're going to end up doing. And historically, the answer has just been, well, go to college, you'll figure it out, right? Everyone goes to college, you'll figure it out. Historically, that may have worked. I don't think college was as expensive back then. The price of going to college has really ballooned out of control. And in the past, you really needed a college degree as something to get you over it was just a qualifier. There was a high barrier of entry preventing people in that didn't have college degrees. And to a certain extent, some of those barriers are still there. Like you might still need a college degree for some jobs or to be considered for a traditional job path. But in many cases, ever since the internet, it's been lessened. Like you don't really need a college degree. So someone that's 16, 17, 18, 19 years old going into college, more probably 18 years old going into college, a lot of them just aren't going to know. They're not going to know really what they want to do, so they go to college. And if they don't have parents who are well off or who have said, hey, we're going to pay for your college or finance it, they end up going into student loan debt. And so that's kind of where the problem starts. You don't really know anything about your student loans. There's a lot of programs out there. It's government, so they will give you a bad loan for your degree, right? Do you do a lot of research on the degree? Do you do a lot of research on how much money you're going to get paid? Do you do a lot of research on like the market for whatever your degree is and how well the jobs are available and if they're going to have skills that are transferable to other career paths? Most people, I would say, don't. They just go to school and they kind of hope it's all going to work out. So for some people it does, but a lot of people, they end up 4 or 5 years older. They're out of school. They're 22, 23, 24 years old. And they're having a hard time maybe finding a job that's worth anything. And they have $50,000, $80,000, $100,000, sometimes even more. If you watch some of like those Dave Ramsey clips, you hear people that have $200,000, $400,000, even like $500,000 in student loan debt because they kept switching their degrees. They were told by the school they needed to get this certification or this designation or whatever, and they spent more time in school. And so people can kind of get trapped in the schooling system because they don't know. They just kind of trust whatever the university tells them, and they don't really think about what's at the end of the tunnel. Like, is there a job there? Is there a career? Is there can I start my own business with this? What's the outcome of all this time spent, in school, kind of in like a holding pond in the schooling system? So that's where it starts. If you come out of school and you don't have a good opportunity where you're making decent money right out of school, you're going to have a tough time affording everything outside of, just living, having a place to live, somewhere to stay, rent, transportation, your student loan debt. You're going to need some sort of car, probably some car payment. That's another thing. You add on the car payment. A lot of people that are younger, they're going to buy a car. They don't really even know about cars. They just get a kind of a relatively newer car. They're paying $500, $600, $700 a month for a car when they're only making $3,000 or $4,000 a month. Then they have their student loans. They have their rent payment. So then what comes in? It's the credit card the credit card, right? It allows you to buy things today that you didn't have to work for. And it sounds great because you could go buy all these things today and get them today, but then the interest rate on that credit card is 20, 25, 30%, and it cripples you. You know, you hear the people on Dave Ramsey too that are calling and say, hey, I got so much credit card debt, you know, how do I start getting out of this? What are my options? And they don't really understand the implications of what they're doing, right? They see an offer or they see someone telling them they can buy this, pay later, and they're kind of getting swindled for their future. Because unless you have a pathway of really increasing your income, you're going to have a hard time digging yourself out of student loan debt, credit card debt. You know, just affording life is going to be somewhat of a struggle. We're not talking about owning anything, real estate, stocks, investment accounts, none of that, right? Just affording your life if you have a bunch of debt is going to be very difficult, because the debt's going to be like a weight on your shoulders. You know, it's very hard to do much else. You can't move very fast when you have all that debt. So you guys let me know what you think on it. I don't know. I mean, I think people when they're younger, they're just not getting, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have really good parents, but for someone that didn't have resources and didn't have family support or just some amount of basic education around money, you could end up in just a really bad situation with debt, bad car loans, you know, credit card debt, student loan, all of these things that it's going to take you sometimes decades to dig yourself out of that hole. And it's tough. I mean, I think for me, it would be, hey, as a parent, why am I going to have a kid if I can't really, you know, take time to educate the kid and make sure that they're financially at least taken care of? I'm not saying you have to do everything for them, but me, it's like I would be scared to have a kid unless I was very confident in my earning potential and that I had probably a house and a savings account and comfortable, right? Because I would want to be able to treat the kid well, make sure I had time to teach them things or make sure that they were doing well. I could monitor what they're doing. And when you don't have that, you just don't learn these things. You know, you can't blame an 18-year-old kid that doesn't know any better. They're going to go into that system, they're going to get taken advantage of, and they're going to have a big weight on their shoulders most likely for the next, could be up to the next few decades, that could really, you know, really hinder their mobility in life and make things very much difficult for them. So I'll end it there. You guys let me know what you think. Your comments are appreciated. You can subscribe if you want, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.